Hey friends, so today we're going to go over how you can separate your symbol into individual geometry so that we can put that into After Effects later for your animation. So I'm here in Illustrator and I have my 1920 by 1280 artboard, and I'm just going to place in my completed symbol. And because you have been working with vectors, you potentially may not have to do this, but as mine is still a raster image, I'm going to go ahead and image trace that, and then I'm going to expand my shape so that we have all our paths showing. So with the white direct selection tool, I can click on the background area and just delete that. And then you see as I hover over the individual pieces of my symbol, I have the opportunity to click on a piece and drag that out to separate it from the overall image. So if I just do this with every little area, you can see we have some really interesting geometry formed, mainly because our shape has basically been flattened, so things that in the foreground are taking out the actual geometry of the shapes behind them. We aren't saving full basic geometry behind things. So it's absolutely okay if you want to keep the geometry like this. Perhaps you have made some sort of narrative that incorporates the actual negative space of geometry like this, but you may also want to deal with your basic geometric shapes, in which case you're going to have to either create or move elements of the path and just fill in that shape so you're dealing with the whole thing and not just what was overlapped. So for instance, with this piece here, it would be turning into a circle, a full circle, and if I just make that a similar colour, that would be useful. So you can see I'm basically just using my circle tool, which is in the rectangle tool menu, and just sort of brought that out, and I can hold shift and just sort of match this up to the same size as the geometry underneath it. So ideally you would be creating full geometry for every single piece, because when they then overlap in After Effects, you can imagine controlling your different layers and actually getting them to overlap and look the same, but then when they pass each other you aren't left with this negative space. You still have your full circle. So for those of you who have really complicated symbols, this may take you a little bit of time, and this is where the case for abstraction and sort of refining out your symbol makes a lot more sense, because once we've finished this page here, we're then going to have to take the images into After Effects and trace them once again with a pen tool, sort of like how you started in Illustrator. So if you have anything that you think is going to basically not add anything to your narrative, you may want to remove that just so you can save yourself a little bit of time if it is unnecessary. So yeah, just basically keep going through your symbol and keep recreating your pieces of geometry in their entirety. With this one here, you could have it as the full circle, or you might want to choose to keep it in this sort of donut shape. So I might want to zoom in a little bit to that, and you can see how we can, as ever, move the paths and actually try to recreate that by just changing the geometry that's already in here. A lot of you will know about the Path Eraser tool by now. That is a very handy tool. So if I just pop over to the pencil, you can see I'm already on it, but the pencil menu, and you just click and hold. Down the bottom is the Path Eraser tool, and you can actually draw over your path, and it actually removes the path, so there's not actually a join there. and then you can use the join path if you figured that out yet. But for what we're drawing at the moment, it doesn't actually matter if there's no join, because like I said, we're going to trace over these shapes again, so it doesn't have to be perfect in Illustrator, it just has to be the right shape. And you can also use your pen tool menu for the add and delete anchor points and convert them and change up your geometry to where you want it to be in its sort of natural state.